The scene opens in silence, the kind of silence that exists only where money has already spoken. A wide expanse of polished concrete, lights dim but deliberate, reflections gliding across the floor like liquid mercury. And then it appears, not driven in, not rushed, it simply exists, as if the space was designed around it rather than the other way around. The Mercedes G Maybach Landaulet is not introduced like a car. It is revealed like an object of power. This is a machine that does not beg for attention, because attention arrives before it does. Even at rest, it feels authoritative. The squared silhouette of the G-Class is familiar, almost militaristic, a design that has survived decades without softening its edges. But here, every angle has been rewritten in the language of absolute luxury. The stance is taller, heavier, more deliberate. Chrome elements are not decorative, they are declarative. This is not excess for the sake of flash. This is precision, executed with confidence. The front face carries the unmistakable G-Class identity: upright grille, round headlights, flat surfaces that reject aerodynamic trends in favor of presence. But the Maybach treatment changes the emotional tone completely. The grille is more intricate, the chrome deeper, richer, as if it absorbs light rather than reflects it. The emblem is not simply branding. It is a seal, a signal. This vehicle does not belong to the road in the way other cars do. Roads belong to it. Move along the side, and the proportions begin to tell a different story. This is where the Landaulet earns its name. The rear section is distinct, separated visually and spiritually from the front. The fabric roof over the rear cabin sits folded with intention, not hidden, not disguised. It announces its function proudly. This is a modern interpretation of a centuries-old concept, where the person being driven mattered more than the person driving. Where the rear seat was the throne, and the front was merely the mechanism. The doors open with a weighty assurance, a controlled resistance that reminds you this is not mass-produced convenience. This is engineered ceremony. Step inside the front cabin and you are greeted by familiarity, but elevated. High-quality leather, metal switches machined to perfection, displays that feel integrated rather than imposed. The driver's position is commanding, upright, almost truck-like, but refined. This is where control lives. Not luxury, control. Then the partition draws your eye. A glass divide, subtle but definitive. Press a button, and it turns opaque, sealing the rear world from the front. This single feature changes everything. Because behind that glass is not a passenger compartment. It is a sanctuary. Enter the rear cabin and the atmosphere shifts instantly. The air feels different, quieter, warmer. White leather dominates the space, contrasted with dark wood and brushed metal accents that feel more like furniture than automotive trim. The seats are not seats. They are sculpted lounges, contoured for comfort that goes beyond ergonomics. They recline deeply, inviting you not to sit, but to surrender. And above you, nothing. Or rather, everything. The Landaulet's defining feature reveals itself when the roof retracts. The soft top folds back gracefully, exposing the rear passengers to the open sky. This is not a convertible experience. There is no wind chaos, no raw exposure. The cabin remains cocooned, protected by high side panels and structural elegance. What you receive instead is curated openness. Fresh air without intrusion, light without vulnerability. This design choice is not modern whimsy. It is historical reference. Landaulets were once the preferred transport of royalty, heads of state, and industrial titans. The idea was simple: let the important people be seen when they choose, and hidden when they do not. The Mercedes G Maybach Landaulet revives this philosophy in an era obsessed with privacy, paradoxically offering exposure as the ultimate luxury. Every surface you touch in the rear cabin reinforces this message. The leather is softer than expected, almost pillow-like, but it never feels fragile. The stitching is perfect, invisible in its precision. Wood panels are real, open-pore, cool to the touch. Metal elements are not painted or plated. They are solid, weighty, honest. The controls for the rear passengers are intuitive yet discreet. Climate settings, seat massage functions, ambient lighting, all adjustable without effort. The massage programs are not gimmicks. They are engineered sequences, designed to reduce fatigue over long journeys. The ambient lighting does not glow. It breathes, subtle hues that shift gently, never distracting, always calming. Sound in the Landaulet is an experience unto itself. The Burmester audio system is not tuned for volume, but for clarity and spatial accuracy. Music does not feel like it is coming from speakers. It feels like it exists within the cabin, surrounding you without direction. Even with the roof open, the sound remains full, controlled, intimate. Wind noise is present, but tamed, reduced to a whisper, reminding you that you are moving through the world, not isolated from it. And then there is the engine. Beneath the hood lives a V12, a configuration that has become increasingly rare, almost mythical in the modern automotive landscape. This engine is not about aggression. It does not roar, it murmurs. Power is delivered not in spikes, but in waves. Effortless acceleration that feels detached from speed, as if the vehicle is bending physics rather than obeying them. From the rear seat, acceleration feels surreal. There is no drama, no strain. The horizon simply moves closer. The suspension absorbs imperfections with regal indifference. Potholes, uneven pavement, gravel, nothing unsettles the cabin. The G-Class heritage ensures off-road capability, but here it is recontextualized. This is not about conquering terrain. It is about being unaffected by it. The Landaulet rides higher than most luxury vehicles, and that height changes perspective. You look down on traffic, not with arrogance, but with distance. You are removed from the urgency of the road. Time slows. Journeys feel shorter not because they are faster, but because they are calmer. The driver, meanwhile, operates a machine that is deceptively complex. Steering is precise, visibility is excellent, and despite its size, the vehicle feels controlled. But it is clear that this car is not designed for spirited driving. It is designed for composure. The driver's role is to maintain smoothness, to ensure that nothing disturbs the rear cabin's equilibrium. Privacy is absolute when desired. The glass partition blocks sound as well as sight. Conversations in the rear remain confidential. Calls can be taken without concern. Decisions can be made without interruption. In a world where true privacy is increasingly rare, this feature alone elevates the Landaulet into a different category. Yet, when visibility is wanted, when presence is required, the roof opens, the glass clears, and the outside world is invited in on your terms. This duality is the Landaulet's greatest achievement. It understands that power today is not loud. It is controlled. It is selective. The exterior design reinforces this philosophy. The two-tone paint options, often chosen by owners, emphasize the separation between function and indulgence. The lower body remains grounded, muscular, purposeful. The upper section becomes lighter, more refined. Wheels are massive, yet elegant, filling the arches with confidence. Nothing looks accidental. Nothing looks excessive. Everything looks intentional. This vehicle is not rare by accident. Production numbers are limited because the process demands it. Each unit requires extensive hand craftsmanship. This is not assembly line efficiency. This is atelier-level attention. Buyers are not simply purchasing a vehicle. They are commissioning an object. And that is why the Mercedes G Maybach Landaulet exists outside traditional categories. It is not an SUV, even though it has four-wheel drive. It is not a limousine, even though it prioritizes rear seat comfort. It is not a convertible, even though it opens to the sky. It is all of these things, yet fully none of them. Ownership is not about daily practicality. It is about statement, about choosing something that does not need explanation. This is a vehicle for individuals who operate above schedules, above traffic, above urgency. For those who understand that true luxury is not speed or flash, but control, comfort, and choice. When the Landaulet comes to a stop, when the engine fades back into silence, the feeling lingers. You do not exit it quickly. You pause, because stepping out feels like re-entering a world that is louder, rougher, less considered. The door closes with a muted thud, sealing the experience behind you. And as it sits there once more, motionless, commanding, the Mercedes G Maybach Landaulet does not look like it is waiting to be driven. It looks like it is waiting to be needed.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.